In the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 1 to 14, Daniel has a vision about a ram and a goat. This vision is packed with symbolism and prophecy, so let's break it down in a simple way. First, Daniel starts by telling us that in the third year of King Belshazzar's reign, he had another vision. He was in the citadel of Susa, standing beside the Ulai Canal. This sets the scene for what he's about to see. In his vision, Daniel sees a ram with two long horns standing beside the canal. One horn is longer than the other, but both are impressive. This ram charges west, north, and south, and no animal can stand against it. It does as it pleases and becomes great. So what does this ram symbolize? The ram represents the Medo-Persian Empire. The two horns are the kings of Media and Persia, with the longer horn symbolizing the greater power of Persia. The ram's conquests in all directions show the empire's expansion and dominance. Next, Daniel sees a goat coming from the west, crossing the whole earth without touching the ground. This goat has a prominent horn between its eyes. It charges at the ram with great rage, shattering its two horns. The ram is powerless to stand against the goat, which tramples it and becomes very great. But at the height of its power, the goat's large horn is broken off and replaced by four notable horns. The goat represents the Greek Empire, and the prominent horn is Alexander the Great. Alexander swiftly conquers the Medo-Persian Empire, depicted by the goat not touching the ground, symbolizing his rapid conquests. However, at the peak of his power, Alexander dies, and his empire is divided among his four generals, symbolized by the four horns. Then, out of one of these four horns comes a small horn that grows in power towards the south, east, in the beautiful land, which refers to Israel. This small horn grows until it reaches the host of heaven, throwing some of the starry host to the ground and trampling on them. It sets itself up as the great leader, stopping the daily sacrifices and desecrating the sanctuary. This small horn represents Antiochus IV Epiphanes, a Seleucid king who harshly persecuted the Jews and desecrated the temple in Jerusalem. He stopped the daily sacrifices and set up an idol in the temple, causing great suffering for the Jewish people. Next, Daniel hears two holy ones talking. One asks how long it will take for the vision to be fulfilled. The vision concerning the daily sacrifice, the rebellion that causes desolation, the surrender of the sanctuary, and the trampling underfoot of the Lord's people. The answer is given. It will take 2,300 evenings and mornings. Then the sanctuary will be reconsecrated. The 2,300 evenings and mornings refer to a period of time during which the temple sacrifices are stopped and the sanctuary is defiled. This period is understood to symbolize the time of Antiochus IV's persecution, which eventually ended when the temple was cleansed and rededicated, an event commemorated by the Jewish festival of Hanukkah. So what can we take away from this vision? First, it's a powerful example of how God reveals the future to his prophets. The vision of the ram and the goat accurately predicted the rise and fall of empires and the persecution of God's people. It reminds us that God is in control of history, even when times are tough. Second, the vision highlights the suffering and challenges that God's people may face, but it also reassures us that these times of trial are limited. The prophecy of 2,300 evenings and mornings shows that God has set a definite end to the persecution and will restore his people. Finally, this passage encourages us to stay faithful and trust in God's plan. Despite the rise and fall of powerful empires and the persecution of believers, God's ultimate victory is assured. He will cleanse and restore his sanctuary and his people. In summary, Daniel 8:1-14 gives us a vivid vision of the future, showing the rise and fall of the Medo-Persian and Greek empires, the persecution under Antiochus IV, and the eventual restoration of the temple. It's a reminder of God's sovereignty over history and his faithfulness to his people.